India and Ethiopia are two ancient civilizations, and out of our relationship, education cooperation is one of the key pillars. Even before India became independent, the Indian teachers were hired by the Ethiopian government to impart training and education right from the elementary grades to the higher studies, and this relationship continues. And today, Ethiopia has graduated. It has developed full competence to deal with the educational needs at the lower levels of schooling and also at the college level. So largely the Indian teachers are concentrated in the tertiary sector only, the tertiary education. Today we hold an event to showcase that these are the achievements which we have done. We have decided that the four panels should discuss four different themes. One panel will be discussing on the higher education, other panel on military education and training, the third one will be discussing on the college level, and the fourth one will be discussing at the school level and the vocational training.
It's my great honor to welcome you all to today's event, Contribution of Indian Teachers in the Field of Education in Ethiopia. Before we begin our program, there will be a cultural performance by our troupe.
I have the privilege to invite His Excellency Mr. Anil Kumar Rai, the Ambassador of India to the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, to deliver the welcoming address.
From most of the Indians who are staying here for a couple of generations, if I ask them that what is your first impression about the relationship between India and Ethiopia, most of the time they say that the Ethiopians very proudly and very, you can say, emotionally connect to India through their teachers. So the idea of this kind of cooperation and the thought-provoking session is to identify those are the new pathways for taking forward this cooperation. As of now, the number of Indian teachers who are in Ethiopia are roughly 250, and these people are giving various kinds of training. Whenever we have met any Ethiopian, if out of anything they have identified as biggest contribution of India or biggest connect with India, it is basically the education. So, through this kind of events, we want to understand the priorities of Ethiopia and see that how our approach in the education cooperation should fulfill the needs and priorities of Ethiopia and also create new avenues for entrepreneurship, for better collaboration, and also create startups and businesses which can able to help Ethiopia in achieving its homegrown economic reforms agenda.
India is a country that has left a lasting mark on the history of modern education in Ethiopia. The educational cooperation that was started during the reign of Emperor Haile Selassie has continued till this very day. The essential cooperation came at a very critical point in the history of education in Ethiopia, as the country had a serious shortage of school teachers at the time.
You did it. Yeah. It depends on me. No, it's fine. Yes, sir.
So in order to understand the needs of Ethiopia, we have divided the today's discussion in 4 sessions, and I feel that they will come up with certain kind of solutions which can pave the way for much deeper cooperation, much fruitful cooperation. Of course, from the preliminary discussion, it has come out that Ethiopia looks for leveraging the presence of strong IT infrastructure, innovation infrastructure to mainstream education in a particular way, and they have a good exposure and understanding about India's presence in the education sector, how these are becoming the centers of excellence, and how they are contributing to the skill needs of the world. So they want to replicate many of these things. So we have noted down the aspirations which are reflected by the Ethiopian scholars. We will individually sit with various stakeholders and decide that about our next course of action. So I do not want to prejudge the outcome, but I will wait for the panels to come up with their suggestions.
He is a renowned sociologist and a business developer at the Ethiopia ISS PLC and a mentor at Cambridge Academy. He is specialized in liaison, consulting, marketing strategies. Apart from the contribution of Indian teachers to Ethiopian educational sector.
Doctor, and my name is Rajinder. He has told me. Most of you, because some of you are foreigners, otherwise, Bamaria Manakar Chilal Napach, Gril Naparin. My major part of my life is in Ethiopia. I came as I was 31 years old, now I am 75. So 43 years I have been living in Ethiopia. And I was assigned in a very small place called Dambi, if anybody is from Jubabur. And that time there was no power, no water. Nobody wanted to stay there because it was very adverse condition. But I belong to a community that always like to be adventurous, like Sikh community. I am a Sikh basically. So I decided to stay there.
Virtual trainings, in leadership development, instructor capacity building, and so on and so forth. And the other one, joint seminars and workshops in defense force capability, capacity building, endeavors, and current issues. This kind of operation is very important to strengthen our country's defense force. War training exercises and operational planning exercises too. Because the Indian academic institutions are highly equipped in technology like wargaming and other modern materials that can help the learning and teaching process. So we need to participate in such kind of activity with the Indian colleges and training centers. And there is one participation in shorter training of trainers.
When it comes to a private school, we had the privileges and the right to give the education. We even employed Indian teachers, even from teachers from Kenya, and we had the knowledge was widely shared.
Services in Ethiopia. We told them about the situation which is there, and apart from the educators, I think one of the biggest problem in Ethiopia is that it is resource poor. Right now, it is not just the education that is required. We also require instruments. We also require books.
Opportunities can we, as an Indian educator, create for Ethiopian student for the future, including everything that is research, healthcare, right?
Answer all the queries as it may be, and I'm sure you'll have some questions up to you.
Is there a plan to just establish a network among just IT alumnus so that the collaboration among the alumni and knowledge sharing can be fostered.
Students about the opportunities in India because the scholarships are available, but for us students, there are many students that know about it but not where to get it and how to get it. So coming to our schools and organizing college fairs would be a good idea. It's a suggestion and a question at the same time.
Defense forces, and the second one is the opportunity for bilateral training and exercise area of future collaboration, and the third one is joint research and technology and strategic studies.
In vocational parts, Ethiopia have no separate and no known fashion design school. So those questions was raised from finalists. So if we just cooperate and collaborate to establish a good fashion design school as part of a technical cooperation, as because it is vocation, this is one thing that we already.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Nathan. I'm a craniofacial surgeon, and our panel had dignitaries guests. We discussed about the college level education and impact of Indian educators in that. Many of the takeaways, which were like 90% of the college education in this country was started by Indian educators, and some of them were supported by American government. The forestay of college education started from agriculture, mining, computer sciences, health, and anything which we can think of. That is, hospitality industry was started by Indian educators. Veterinary sciences was started by Indian educators. Among our discussion of the panelists, we also came across a very beautiful thing that you all will be proud of it, that evidence-based science, first time in East Africa, that is in Ethiopia, was started by an Indian, and it is fully functional in Jimma University.
Coming to some of the other points which has been raised, so let me go one by one. So the first question was youth to youth cooperation, which you mentioned. So I would like to tell you that means the moment you mentioned, we had a simulation exercise for G20 and African Union, and it was very well represented by the Ethiopian students. Quite a number of students came, and you would have realized that what we did was something which was new for you also and for most of the students who participated. So the moment I am talking about school education, college education and tertiary education, of course these are the things which are directed towards youth only. This is not for this, we were not discussing about the adult education. So youth is an integral part of any education system, and all the discussions which has taken place are devoted to youth. In that way you can consider.
You have to develop that what you call the mindset in the people, that you can start with small, but they may not have projects. They don't know what should they do. So I think Indian government and Indian embassy can take initiative and create such type of, and when they submit the project, if Indian government can, like a scholarship, can offer them a certain fund with certain conditions, it can be very helpful for the Ethiopian people and youth especially. Thank you.
But what about the disabled persons? In Ethiopia, around 5 million deaf persons are there and 10 million blind persons are there. So just my concern, we have a big, in India, we have a big, ministry for the disabled. But in Ethiopia also I seen, but the problem is I am just looking for the sign language material. I means our society has donated some TVs, but we are not getting the material. So this is the basic need. That's it. Thank you.
If there are any specific thing which we can do, we will look into it. And of course we have a Braille system in India which is quite advanced, and I am told that now some digital intervention has been done. So this might be one of the areas where if a proposal from the government of Ethiopia comes, we will certainly look into it. Ethiopia is a major developing country of the world. It has a very prominent place in Africa, and it has a manpower which is of very high quality. So these are the three basic ingredients which are needed for strengthening the education cooperation. So I see that this is an area where we have lot of complementary relationship. Ethiopians knows India very well and Indians know Ethiopia very well, and both have roughly similar kind of issues. So education can certainly emerge as an important platform for cooperation between these two countries. In recent times, we have leveraged information technology and platforms to impart quality education at a very cost effective manner, and also that has helped us to reach the remote corners. So we feel that the similar kind of opportunities or the ecosystem is readily available in Ethiopia. So why can't we can collaborate and come up with a solution which addresses the requirements and the needs of the people of Ethiopia and fulfill the upcoming aspirations of the new generation. Thank you.